All right, guys, so today what we're going to be doing is we are going to be moving on to area, and we are going to make some rectangles together. When you guys go to do your work on your own, the rectangles are actually going to be drawn, or you're going to be able to know what the units long is and what the units wide is. So these ones we are going to all do together to be able to figure out what the area is. Now, I do want you guys to remember that the formula for area is length times width. Okay, so just remember that when we do this, that it's length times width. So I'm going to do rectangle A, and here what I'm going to show is I'm going to show that rectangle A is 2 units by 3 units. Okay, so it's 3 units long, it's 2 units wide, so then 3 times 2 is going to give me 6 units squared. Okay, make sure that we have that little 2 there because you're doing units times units, and that's going to be units squared. Okay, this next one's going to be a little bit different because I'm going to draw my rectangle, and I'm actually going to keep it at that 3 units wide. So I'm going to go ahead and do 3 units wide, and I'm going to put U for units. Okay, so I'm going to say that it's 3 units long, but then for how many units wide it is, I'm actually going to do this. Oops, sorry, I didn't want to do that. I'm actually going to make it 2 1/2. So this is going to be 2 1/2. So I'm going to do 2 1/2 units wide. So then what I'm going to do, and I didn't get any scratch papers. Let me see if I can find some. There we go. Use some Post-it notes that I have up here. Okay, so I am going to use this. And what I want to do is I want to do 3 times 2 1/2. Okay, now I could go ahead and multiply 3 times 2 and then 3 times 1/2, or I can convert that into an improper fraction and then multiply. I would rather convert that into the improper fraction, which would be 5 halves, and I get 15 halves equals 7 1/2. Okay, so the area is going to be 7 1/2. Now what you could do is you could also come up here and say I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and each one of these is a half. So I know that 1/2 plus 1/2, that would give me that 7, and then there would be that half. Okay, not all the time will you be able to do this because some of your measurements are going to be a lot bigger, but that's also something that you can take a look at when you're doing your rectangle. The next one, I'm going to make a really tall rectangle. Okay, and I'm going to say that how long it is I'm going to make it 5 units. So it's going to be 5 units. So I'm going to put 5 units. And then what I'm actually going to do over here is I'm going to do this as 1, but then I'm going to do it as a half a unit. So 1 1/2 units wide. So then I'm going to take 5 times 1 1/2. So 5 times 1 1/2. I can convert that to 5 times 3 halves, which is 15 halves, which also equals 7 1/2 again. Okay, and what I can do is I can also look at here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then remember each of these are a half. So here would be 6, here would be 7, and then you would have that half. Okay, oops. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of move this off to the side over here, just kind of cover that up so that so you guys can see that. So I've got rectangle D, so I'm going to make rectangle D. And what I'm going to do for rectangle D is I'm going to say that this is 2 units. Okay, so I'm going to make my 2 units long. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do 1 3/4 unit wide. Okay, And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do 2 times 1 3/4, which is also 2 times 7/4. Okay. I'm going to get 14/4, which is also 2 2/4. Or 2 1/2. No, 3, sorry. 3. That's my mistake, guys, sorry. Okay, so it's going to be 3 1/2. And what you can see is you can find, and I actually drew this wrong. I drew that as 3, guys. I am so sorry. I'm drawing 2 lines instead of that 1. There we go. Okay, so I have 1, 2, and then basically what I have is 3/4 plus 3/4. And I know 3/4 plus 3/4 is 6/4 or 1 1/2. And so that's where I would get that 3 and then that half there. Okay, try to draw this a little bit better on this rectangle E. I am so sorry. So I am going to draw this one as 5 units. So I'm going to put 5. But how wide it is, it's not going to be quite a hole. It's going to be 3/4. Okay, so then basically what each of these are 3/4. So I'm going to have 5 times 3/4, which equals 15/4, or 3 3/4, and that would be my area. Okay, all we're doing is just kind of looking at these without giving them a measurement like inch or centimeters or meters. We're just kind of looking at the units and understanding how we are figuring out that area and how it can kind of break down, especially with fractions.